Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Stace and today I thought it would just be nice to sit down, have a bit of a chill and a chat, I guess a bit of a vlog style video, just to talk about what I tend to do in my time between writing projects on the rare occasion that I find myself with a long time with no writing to do. I'd also like to hear what you guys do in between your projects and how you spend your time, how you refill your creative well, and how you look after yourselves in between projects as well. So please let me know in the comments. So, I ended up with, this wasn't planned, but I have had the last 2 months between both of my writing projects. So if you've heard me talk about it before, I have two projects on the go at once and I kind of alternate them at main milestones. So at the end of March, I sent my edited novel to beta readers for a 3-month reading window. And I know that's quite a long time, but that's so that I can work on other projects in the meantime. And that was the plan. In April, I started work on a fantasy novella, which is my second active project, and I was expecting it to take like 6 weeks to 2 months to write the first draft. And then I would have like a month to just relax and chill. Didn't work out that way. I ended up writing the whole first draft of the novella in April. And then I finished it and I was like, oh great, I've finished another first draft of a novella, another project, got that done. And then I kind of sat down and thought, oh, now I've got 2 months and nothing to do. And I actually find it quite difficult to have nothing to do. I'm not that great at, not having a lot to do. I need to be busy, I need to be productive. So I do find it kind of difficult to be in those gaps where there's not much to keep me busy writing wise. Now, some people did say to me, they said, oh, well, don't you have time to write a first draft of another project? And I thought about it a little bit and I was like, technically, yeah, I have some novels, other novels outlined waiting to be written that are linked to my first novel, but I really don't want us to write a first draft of another project and end up with a stack of unedited first drafts. So that's why I put a cap of 2 active projects at a time up. And I was thinking about it and I was quite behind on the channel because of family stuff. So in May and June, it's been very much a try and catch up. I've been editing videos a day or so before they go live instead of having them uploaded like sometimes 3 weeks in advance. So that was kind of tough. So I wanted to spend the time instead to get ahead with the channel, write some scripts, and then also just take some time to relax because I was thinking ahead. I was like, well, my novel comes back from beta readers on the 1st of July, and then I'm going to have to take in the feedback and edit that and send it back out on beta read. When it's out again, I'll be editing the first draft of the novella I just wrote, and then that has to go on beta read. And I basically realized that if I don't take this break now, I'm not actually gonna have another break probably for the rest of the year. So then my priorities completely changed and I was like, this is chill time. I'm gonna take the time to relax a little bit, get ahead with the channel, sort through some of the ever-growing pile of ideas for books to write in the future, and just chill a little bit. So I thought it would be fun to share exactly what I've been up to and what I get up to when I'm not writing, just as a little sneak peek into Stacey's life outside of writing. So this ended up as mainly just being self-care time. I did have quite a bit of a struggle with my mental health at the end of May and the start of June, but I am feeling a lot better now, which is great. Let's hope that doesn't happen again for a while. So yeah, it's mostly been self-care, to be honest. So how did I spend my time refilling my creative well? Well, in March, I discovered a dangerous new hobby, which is creative/decorative journaling, and I've become a little bit obsessed with it, to be honest. So, those traveler's notebooks that you get with like the leather outside and you can put several notebooks in, and people do these lovely spreads with just deco paper and lots of stickers and washi tapes and that kind of thing. I found out I actually really love doing that. So I bought myself a journal and I thought, well, what do I want to use this for? I don't want to use it as a daily journal. I already have like a handwritten journal where I write in it when I just need to take care of my mental health a little bit and make some space in my brain. So I decided that I wanted to make this particular traveler's notebook kind of something that reflects who I am. So I had 3 different sections. I have my dreams and goals, my thoughts and favorite quotes, and then my achievements. And I will put some images on the screen just to show you some of my favorite spreads so far. But it's just a really nice, relaxing, creative thing that I can do, and each spread takes less than an hour, so they don't take up a lot of time. And while I was doing that, I decided to actually get myself a second journal. I think I'm going to have to stop at 2 for now. But I wanted to do this really cool side project where I basically get myself a second traveler's journal and turn it into kind of the story of my writing journey. So when I'm done, I want to do a flip through video and show you guys the whole thing start to finish. So a lot of my time was spent doing that. I've also been reading, of course, although I will admit that my reading has slowed down a lot at the end of May and most of June compared to the first lot of the year. Currently, I'm in the middle of my first ever buddy read, which I'm really excited about, with my lovely friend Alex from the Writer's Block server. And we are currently reading the first book in the Daevabad trilogy, City of Brass. I'm about 240 pages through at the minute, so we'll see how that goes. We have checkups every weekend just to talk about our thoughts about the book, and it's actually really nice to be reading a book with someone else, so I've been doing a little bit of reading too. Aside from reading, I've been indulging my not so guilty pleasure of watching Chinese historical fantasy dramas. I was introduced to these by a lovely friend of mine last August, where she was like, one of these shows has come onto Netflix, like, I think you'd really enjoy it if you watched it. And I watched it, and it was called The Untamed, and I absolutely loved it. It was just 50 episodes of whoa, okay, oh my god, and immediate rewatch came after it. I loved the show. It was just so different. I've never seen anything like it before, and it was just all of this like over-the-top fighting and these crazy complicated fantasy stories and these really complex and well-layered characters, and I was just totally sucked in. So since then, I've been looking for other ones to watch. I actually spent some of the last 2 months rewatching The Untamed, possibly, I'm not going to confirm or deny, for the 3rd time now. And then I also found another one that's new to Netflix called Word of Honor, which I also really loved, and at this point I'm not going to lie and just say that I immediately went into a second rewatch of that too. So I do have a few others on my list to watch, like Legend of Fae, Oath of Love. I know there's a couple coming out next year as well that I'd really like to watch. If you guys also like watching Chinese historical fantasy dramas and have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments, because it's a rabbit hole that I really don't mind going down from time to time. When I wasn't doing all of that, if I did find myself with a bit of free time on the weekends, which I'll admit I don't get to do this very often, but I have been playing Genshin Impact. I started this game like last October, and I've only just come to the end of the currently available storyline, so yeah, it's taken me a while, I'll admit. I'm one of those irresponsible Genshin players that only plays every so often. I don't log in and do my daily quests. I don't log in and spend my resin every day. Anyone who plays this game is probably now thinking I'm an absolute heretic, but yeah, I play the game to chill, and that's why I like it, because you can either log in and like do a bunch of really difficult stuff, you can grind a lot of stuff, or you can log in and literally just wander around this amazingly beautiful environment doing easy quests and just looking for treasure chests or solving puzzles in the landscape, and that is why I like it. There are a couple more characters that I do hope to get through the wishing systems, such as Xiao and Xingqiu, because I only have one Hydro character at the moment, and that's Barbara. And no offense, Barbara, I like Barbara, she's really useful, But because she's a healer and I have Noelle on my team, I very rarely actually need a dedicated healer. So it would be nice to have a character with the water element that can actually do reasonable damage. Sorry, Barbara. And I got to try out Xiao as part of a trial, and he just seemed really cool. I don't have a Halberd user yet that I like. I don't have Xiangling. I just didn't like her playstyle very much. So let's see. Let's hope I get one of them from the banner sometimes. If any of you guys do play this game, I would love to know what is your favorite character from the game to use? Like, what character do you main, and what is your main party setup? I'd be curious to know this because I recently realized that I've had a team before of all just Claymore users, so I seem apparently to just enjoy the really hard-hitting characters. I main Noelle as my main character, and my main team is usually Noelle, Razor, Diluc, and Barbara, or if I don't need a healer, then I'll swap out Barbara for Chongyun instead. I did also have some adulting to do, which is always fun. I had to have a repair done to my car, which is for the first time, which is the first one I've ever had to have done. Especially, with driving a lot more now and getting into driving a lot more now. I've had this particular car for coming up to 5 years, so it's not that bad that I only just needed to get a repair done to it. But because I had to have a valve in my turbo repaired and have a diagnostic to sort that out, it was going to cost me like £500 just to have a part within a part of my car replaced, and I just wasn't expecting it. I almost fell out of my chair when the lady told me, including the diagnostic and the repair to that small valve in your car, it's going to be about £500. I was like, excuse me? I thought it was quite daft, but I've been driving for 12 years, so I should really know how much car repairs cost. But because it was such a high price for such a small repair, she actually went to speak to her manager, and they realized that I've been a customer with Seat, which is the make of my car. I've been a customer with that particular garage for 10 years, and so their manager actually paid half of the repair bill for me, which was great. It was much more generous than I was expecting. When she said she'd go and have a look if anything could be done about the price, I was like, oh, they're just gonna knock off 50 quid and I'm gonna still have to pay all of this money. They paid half of the bill, so I honestly really can't complain. That was really unexpected and extremely helpful, so win-win, I guess. I've also been making plans for the rest of the year, and just thinking about what's coming up project-wise and working on a few other little rough ideas. I did do some development and a very rough outline for a new novel that I'm probably not going to be writing until next year, which was fun. So I'd like to develop that possibly, well, it's the 20th now, so I've still got half the month. Is that right? Half the month? 10 days. I've still got 10 days to flesh out that outline if I want to, but I also have until the end of the month to just enjoy resting and enjoy the rest of this chill out time before I dive back into writing and taking in the comments from beta feedback, and then just the rest of the year I have a feeling is just going to be full on project after project, just blasting through. So yeah, for me it's really important to take this kind of time for yourselves. I know I certainly used to do this, and I know a lot of you probably get this too, but trying not to feel guilty for just taking a couple of weeks or a whole month off of writing just to, relax a little bit, because a lot of us do write as though writing is our job, and you take annual leave when you have a job. But there are a couple of people who I know who do treat writing as a full-time job and then don't give themselves annual leave, kind of. That concept of it's fine to take some time off, to refill a little bit, just look after yourselves, do some of the things you love. For me, that was journaling, reading, gaming, watching Chinese fantasy dramas. Just that kind of stuff. You don't have to be productive every single week of the year. It's perfectly fine just to chill out and relax a little bit. Just be who you are and just just put the work aside for a while and just refill your creative well, because the more we draw from it and keep drawing from it, eventually it's going to end up empty. And I think if I had pushed and written the first draft of another project, I think I would end up suffering from burnout, because I realize that this is the only time I'm going to get, the only gap in my writing schedule that I'm going to get. If you get that chance, take that time. So let me know if any of you guys share any of the interests that I've talked about in this video. It's been really fun to talk about stuff a little bit less writing related, and it's something that I do want to do more on occasion in the future. This has been an unscripted video, so sorry if I've rambled a little bit, but I do want to do more of these because I want to show more of myself to you guys, and I know that my sit-down videos can seem really formal while I'm kind of relaying information and giving advice and stuff. So I want to do more of this type of content so I can connect with you guys more. That's it for this video. I hope you're all doing well, and please remember to let me know how you refill your creative well in the comments. I would love to hear about it. Happy writing, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!